By the distinguished representatives of those states that are both signing and acting their instruments of ratification today. They will be followed by the distinguished representatives of the countries that spoke
The French Republic. Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Marshall Islands.
Excellencies, heads of state and government, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. My country welcomes the Paris Climate Agreement as a stepping stone towards tangible action in addressing the climate change challenge facing the world today. We commit ourselves to playing an active role in the global efforts to save our planet. In this regard, in 2015, Zimbabwe submitted to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change its intended nationally determined contributions towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We aim to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 33% below projected business as usual energy emissions per capita by 2030. To demonstrate my country's commitment to implement its nationally determined contributions, I have established a high-level committee that will be chaired by my office. This platform will ensure the coordinated implementation and monitoring of our contributions, taking cognizance of the seriousness and cross-cutting nature of our nationally determined contributions. Climate change is a stark reality. It is no longer a projected phenomenon. Zimbabwe and many other countries in the Southern African region are currently suffering from the worst drought in over 35 years. This El Nino-induced drought has led to widespread crop failure, loss of livestock and wildlife, inadequate water supply, and a drastic reduction in hydroelectric power generation. Your Excellency, guided by our national development plans and taking into account the provisions of the Paris Agreement, Zimbabwe, with the support of the United Nations Development Programme, has developed a comprehensive program that will enable the establishment of robust development of a monitoring and reporting framework for the implementation of the nationally determined contributions. The broader scope of the program will support enhanced climate action towards climate resilience and a low-carbon development pathway. In our determination to accelerate climate action, we have developed and are implementing a national climate change response strategy that seeks to mainstream climate change across all the economic sectors, in particular agriculture, water, energy, industry, and tourism. Clearly, our individual national efforts on their own will be inadequate to ensure success in combating this universal and mammoth challenge. The Paris Agreement and the signatures we have appended to it earlier today confirm that robust collective action that recognizes our respective national circumstances is a precondition for success in this fight. We expect the developed countries to take the lead as they are obligated by the Convention and the Paris Agreement in these actions. For us in Africa, adaptation remains essential and a priority. We are already bearing climate change attributable economic burdens that are reversing our development gains. Inadequate support for our adaptation efforts will hamper our capacity to contribute meaningfully to the global actions needed to reduce global warming and scale back climate change. Your Excellency, in line with our national process, Zimbabwe will make every effort to expedite the ratification of the Paris Agreement. I hope that the confidence and momentum generated by the Paris Agreement will galvanize concrete action to address climate change and its impact. Life itself is at stake in this combat. We, however, have the power to win it. Let us therefore go forth and win it for ourselves and for those yet to be born. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency, Robert Mugabe, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Je donne la parole
I now give
à
the
Son
floor
Excellence
to
Monsieur
His
Peter
Excellency,
Christian,
Mr. Peter
Président.
Christian,
Palestine.
Je donne la parole
I
à
give
Son
the floor to
Excellence
His Excellency
Mahmoud
Mahmoud
Abbas,
Abbas,
Président de l'État
President
de
of the State
Palestine.
of Palestine.
In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen,
أحييكم أيها الأصدقاء.
I greet you, my
وأود
good friends,
بداية
and at the
أتوجه
outset,
بالتحية
I would like to extend
والتقدير
my greetings and
لفخامة
appreciation
الرئيس
to His
فرانسوا
Excellency,
أولاند
President François
مثمنين
Hollande,
عاليا
for France's
جهود فرنسا
Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Government of Spain. His Excellency the Deputy Prime Minister of Swaziland. Her Excellency the Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden. His Excellency the Deputy Prime Minister of Tonga.
Paris Agreement today, but to inform this body that our people have given their full endorsement to this agreement through our Parliament's ratification, which I deposited today. More than 165 countries have come to New York to sign the Paris Agreement, evidence of a huge achievement. This agreement is not perfect, but it is something the whole world is ready to take forward immediately. We have many to thank, including the French presidency, the UNFCCC Secretariat, and in particular, Mr. Secretary General, for his years of leadership. We are pleased to see that the Paris Agreement is already influencing other international bodies. This week, the International Maritime Organization recognized the need to take stronger action to reduce emissions from international maritime transport. As one of the world's largest shipping registries, Marshall Islands is encouraged that all sectors are playing their part. The Paris negotiations succeeded because world leaders bore true fundamental values of the United Nations to work together to achieve results that are not just reflect national interests, but which advance the interest of all, including future generations. We know that current nationally determined contributions will not secure our future. The most important pillar of the Paris Agreement is ambition, that we have all come forward now, and that we will redouble efforts until we limit global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and until we achieve net zero emissions in the second half of this century as set out in the Paris Agreement. These are more than casual words. They are legally binding commitments, and the future of our low-lying nation, and indeed the well-being of the world, depend on revisiting our efforts and pushing forward innovation. The Paris Agreement also represents our collective courage and commitment to help us address climate impacts that can no longer be prevented. This honesty and willingness to follow up on it are crucial. I'm sad to tell you that one of the first acts of our new government was to declare a national emergency due to a severe drought. We are responding in every way possible, but things are only worsening. Rising seas are a reality. Our tide gauges vary by my words. For a low-lying nation, such as the Marshall Islands, climate change threatens not only our development, but our very boundaries and security. We are taking many steps to learn from each disaster and to reduce the risk of future ones. We are pushing new initiatives to not only integrate climate with development pathways, but to exhaust every possible measure to assure basic human rights and protection of local communities. But we also need your help to face one of the most complex planning challenges, and our future, if not our very survival, hangs in the balance. Implementation of our NDC, one of the most ambitious submitted, will need more effective and innovative international partnerships. Let me end by saying by urging my fellow leaders to achieve the timely and urgent entry into force of the Paris Agreement. Although your signature today is most welcome, we want everyone to give the highest political priority to joining or ratifying the agreement as soon as possible this year, if your domestic process allows. This would build confidence that we will stand together with the most vulnerable, and indeed, our common global future will not be forsaken. Thank you, and komoltada.
Je remercie Madame la